Hello boys and girls, and welcome to lesson 6 from chapter 2, Estimate with Percents. Now as you can see, the lesson is on page 137. Let's get started. Josephina surveyed 298 students and found that 52% like scary movies. I certainly don't. Estimate the number of students that like scary movies. So this could be an easy estimate to make. If we were to round this number to the nearest tenth, we would know that it would be, to the nearest tenth, we would know it would be about 50%, right? So 50% of half of the population, and we have 298. 298 could be rounded to 300. So half right there, you see? We have it counted, they're going in increments of 75, right? 75, 150 plus another 75 is 225 plus another 75 would be, if you're keeping track, would be 300. Now, we see that 100 has been broken up into four parts. When we divide 100 into fours, okay, we have 100, and what do we have here? Well, some of you already know that we have 25, 50, 75, right? So 50% of 300 is 150. 25% of 300 is 75. 75% of 300 is 225. So let's move on. Question 2. What common percent is 52% close to? Well, 52% is very close to 50%. We've already established that, right? Very close. So we can make that our estimate. Shade the diagram above to show your answer. Okay, so we can shade, we know we have 25%, and we also have all the way up to 50% right there. We have already established that when we round 298, the nearest 100, 298, this little symbol there, boys and girls, means approximately. Okay, so 298 is approximately 300. Boys and girls, if it feels like I'm going a little too fast, remember you can always pause, rewind, and read again, right? Use the bar diagram to estimate 52% of 298. Explain. Well, let's explain. How do we use it? We went right to 50%, which is half of this amount, which is 300, as we mentioned earlier. Let's explain that in writing. Well, since 52% is close to 50% and 298 is close to 300, I can use the numbers in the bar diagram. Since 150 is 50% of 300, I can estimate that 150 is about 52% of 298. So this is just an approximation about, which is the symbol that we made like that, the equal sign. Go ahead and star this as a key answer. Number 5. Use the bar diagram below to estimate 73% of 400. Now, boys and girls, 73% is very close to 75%, right? 3/4. Now we have here, again, 100% broken into 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we know that 100 divided by 4 is 25. And we increment by 25 so we go to 50 and 75. And over here we see that we have, if we follow the pattern, we're going up by 100 each time, right? So that's 100, 200, 300, and that would easily be 400, right? 400. They want us to estimate where 73% is. Well, 73% is going to be around here. We can estimate that it's 300, can't we? All right, so let's just go ahead and shade that in all the way to 300. There we go. For page 138, at the very bottom there, question ABC, we can continue to use a bar graph if you'd like, or we can try something differently. We can go back and do something the very same skill that we used when we were working with ratio, except now we're going to use an approximation. Let's round all of these percent to a close percent that we feel comfortable working with. For me, I would say that this is close to 50%, right? So really, you're just looking for half of 76. Over here, this looks like it's close to 20%, right? So really, you're looking for 1/5 of 42. If you're wondering why 1/5, well, 20% is 1/5 of 100. And over here, you're looking for about 75% right? And we know that that is 3/4 of 41. Why 3/4? Well, 75% is 3 parts of 100. So to give you another visual, we're essentially looking for equivalent fraction. I said this could be 50%, 50%, right? 50% of 76, and you know that 50% is half, right? So we're just looking for half of 76. Divide that by 2. That'll be your answer. Over here, we know that we said that this would be rounded to 20%, 20%, 20 out of 100. And we know that 20% when simplified is 1/5. So you're really just looking for 1/5 of 42. Now 42 can be rounded to 40, and I know that 1/5 of 40 is 8, right? Over here we have 75%, which is another way of writing it could be 3/4, as I mentioned, right? So we're looking for 3 parts of 4 parts of 41. Now I could round this to 40, and 3 parts would be 30. Make sense? Okay, go ahead and put your answers, and we'll check these in class. On page 139, we have our first word problem, and it states, Kaylee decided to donate 30%. 30%. Whenever I see 30%, I think of 3/10, 3 parts of tenths, right? Because that's what 30% is. Pretend that you can add a 0 there and a 0 there, and you have it right there. 30%, right? Okay, so she, 30% of her savings. Kaylee decided to donate 30% of her savings. If she has $238 in her savings account, about, how much will she donate? 238. 238. I'm going to go ahead and just round that to 240. Isn't that very close to 240? What did I do to the 10 to make it 240? If you know that you multiplied it by 24, well done. Let's do the same thing to the 3. Multiply it by 24. About how much will she donate? Go ahead and solve it. Write it right there. Put a nice smiley face under it. Okay? Now let's go to page 140, right before the the guided practice. We have here 27% of 300. I'm going to go right ahead and round that 27% to 30%. 30%. And they're talking about 307. I can round that right down to 300. Okay, since we're only looking for approximation. Or I could even say 306. I'm going to say 306 because I can divide that by 3 since we're talking about 30%. Remember, I can also write this as 3/10, which would be easier to multiply, easier to work with. And we're looking for an equivalent to 300. Or you could even say 306 if you want to be more specific. What did I do here? I multiplied it by 30, multiply that by 30, and that'll be your answer. Okay? I'd like to check all these in class, and that's why I'm not just giving you the answer today. I'm simply guiding you. Letter F. We have 76, which I want to round to 75, 76% of 192. We could also say this, boys and girls, we could say 75%, okay, of, let's see, we can round it to 200. That's a bit of a reach, but it makes it nice and easy for us, right? So what did I do to this 100 to make it 200? Do the same to the 75. I doubled it, double that, and there's your answer. Okay, let's do G. Last year, 24% of the zoo visitors were under the age of 3. Wow, 24%, 1/4 almost. Last week, the zoo had 996 visitors. That's almost 1,000, isn't it? About how many of the zoo visitors were under the age of 3? Again, I'm going to take this 24% and I'm going to make it 25. 25 out of 100, right? 25%. And I'm going to take this 996 and make it into 1,000 because it's so close, right? Look at that. What did I do here? I added a 0 pretty much. I multiplied it by 10. Do the same there, and that'll tell you how many kids were under the age of 3. You can include a therefore statement. Okay, go ahead and give me a star right next to it, right there. Okay, as your key answer. I'm feeling pretty confident that you can do this on your own. Remember to round this to 20, round this to 20, and round this to even 60, which is 3/5, right? And go ahead and try it on your own. and we're going to check it in class, okay? So the guided practice plus page 141 is due in class. See you then. Bye-bye.